The whole on I can't do my dates right now. Too many dates in the last one. June 8th, 2021 at 5:47 p.m. Roll call. Oh, I'm sorry.
Alderpersons Madden.
Here.
Hockey.
Here.
Engelhardt.
Here.
Kapusta.
Here.
Terrence is absent. Hamel.
Here.
Wolf.
Here.
We have a quorum present.
Thank you. Do you need to do we do with recordings or are we good?
No, we're good.
All right.
Oh, you know what? I think we're supposed to stop.
I don't know why it's up there that long.
We're going to pause for a second. Continuing on, statement of public notice.
Meeting was noticed in accordance with the open meeting law.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. Approval of the minutes from May 25th, 2021.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
I'm sorry, who's second? Was that Alderperson Hamel? Okay, thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. New business. Discuss proposed ordinance regarding recreation vehicles. So, about a year ago-ish, I got a call from a gentleman that was not happy. He had been driving his electric, I think it was a golf cart, down the road, got pulled over by our police because we don't allow golf carts going down the road in this community right now. And, you know, I explained that we don't allow these. And he went on to say that, well, there's, and I'll use his words, this old white guy that drives his down the road all the time and the police never hassle him. And he thought he was being pulled over because he didn't fit the profile of an old white guy. So having discussions, digging into it a little more, I guess there's an older gentleman that essentially we told the police to look the other way 2 years ago. So he's been able to drive around. And, you know, my thought was, well, that's probably not a good way of going forward with these things. So either we stop it for everyone or we allow it for everyone. So I talked to Jeff about it. I talked to, at that time, Chief Wren's discussions about, you know, why don't we look into allowing, well, golf carts and electric vehicles as long as they meet certain criteria. And there's other communities that allow these. I don't know of any in like this neck of the woods, but somebody's got to be first. So Jeff researched it and came up with a couple different ordinances to look at and kind of modeled one after probably a conglomerate of different ones to kind of put together and saw one that fits. So my thought would be if before we bring an ordinance forward, I want to see if there's interest in it. In addition, we were also approached by a local business that now sells golf carts that was interested in coming forward with one. But anyway, my thought is, you know, what are you guys thinking on this? I have no objection to it. The police chief has no objection to it. There are
street legal varieties.
They would have to be a street legal variant of it. They would have to have lights, turn signals, brake lights.
License plates?
No, that's something we could decide if we want to register them or not. I think if that's something you're interested in, I'd want to talk to staff and, you know, how much of a hassle.
Well, if we're going to treat them like a car.
You're not going to outrun a golf cart. You're not outrunning anyone in a golf cart.
No, but if you get pulled over, you pull over a car, you have to have all the same things, right? You need a driver's license, you need
you still need a driver's license
plate,
and all that.
you need a registration.
Yeah. So, I mean, we could have something registered. It's half and half. Some communities do and some don't, as far as what they allow and what they don't allow. The map I handed out, my thought would be to only allow it to roads with 35 miles or less. This shows you where it would be. You know, you could further restrict that if you wanted. If you go less than that, you're pretty much going to keep them just in subdivisions.
I have no objection. In fact, I looked into this for my dad. My dad lived in Milwaukee. I checked with Milwaukee. They had no ordinance banning these. I checked out street legal options. These things only go 25 miles an hour anyway.
At best, yeah.
And with an aging population, there's a lot of people out there that need this type of transportation. I don't have any objection at all to this.
And it's not just aging. I got a friend of mine that's, well, maybe aging, someone my age,
Like I said, aging population.
You're right, yes. We're all aging. And they're not cheap. I mean, fully, pimped out one, 10 grand plus. I mean,
And they're open doors, right?
Yes.
I mean, so the safety features aren't there for the road. We're looking at doing this because one person complained and there's another person on the road with them right now.
no, I thought it'd be something worth talking about. So
I'm just saying, but
Yeah.
there's only two people out there right now. I see it as some safety issues involved here. Like I said, and we're requiring other people in the streets to have registered licensed vehicles. That's one thing I would like to see if it happens.
And, that's something we could come up with is a registration and, a decal that goes on it or something. I mean, I have a vacation home in central Wisconsin. You can drive these things and UTVs on the road up there. You do, for UTVs now, the state does require a license plate on the back of them. It's your registration number that goes on the back, but
That's a DNR
that's a
registration.
DNR thing, right?
But if they can only go 25, that's another dilemma. You're going to have people wanting to go, 35, in a 35 zone, they want to go 50 already, and now you put a 20-mile-an-hour vehicle in front of them.
Traffic calming.
I think,
I'm seeing people going during rush hour, having to go and
try to get around them.
they want to kill people on bicycles. You put these out there, they're going to go nuts.
We've been searching for traffic calming ideas in this community for as long as I've been involved in politics. And you want to find a way of slowing down traffic,
Don't add any more streetlights. Put a lot of nails. Got too many
Slowing
on
down
Janesville
is
already.
one thing, stopping is another.
Well, the other thing is most communities that do have this have trails for them.
Right.
So it's a golf cart community, they're called. We're not a golf cart community. So I have reservations about moving forward with this.
Yeah, it doesn't thrill me.
I
If
think-
you restrict it to areas where the speed limit is only 25 miles an hour, you're not going to be on arterial streets.
First of all, they got to get to those streets. How are they going to get to them? There's not a lot of 25-mile-an-hour streets.
well, all the subdivisions are.
Right.
Yeah.
In fact,
But if they want to cross another
majority of our-
subdivision, they're breaking the law.
A majority of our roads are 25 miles an hour because the majority of our roads are subdivision roads.
But if they want to get from one place to another, they're
You
going to
can't.
have.
If you limit it to 25, you can't leave your subdivision.
Right.
So they can't go to the store in
So
them.
that was my idea of going to 35.
Yeah, I think we're just opening a can of worms up. That's what I think we're doing.
If we allowed it, would we require them to put the orange triangles?
You can require whatever you want on it. That's what, I'm coming to you before we're crafting an ordinance completely, so I have input.
And they can ride in the snow on the roads too then?
You could restrict the time of year. You could have them, only good from May
think-
until
Put
November.
chains on those babies, they'll go.
Put some chains on the tires.
There's an awful lot of people in my neighborhood that do it right now.
Well, that's the part, I see these things, I still see them running down the roads once in a while, not a majority, and you're not going to have a lot of, you're not going to be clogging our roads with them to start with anyway, because they're not cheap.
Well, I think they're going to be on the trails and everything. We have a place, like you said, that's selling them now and is looking at renting them and all kinds of things. I think we're opening a can of worms. That's what I think.
The only one I've seen out there is that he goes down the path. He doesn't go on the road. He drives right down the path, yeah.
Can they use the rec trails?
No,
But
Okay.
they do.
It's considered motorized vehicle, electric or gas, right? Okay.
I don't think we're going to see a great increase in people going out to buy one just because we allow them on the roads now. I personally, I don't think I have a problem with it, allowing them on streets at 35 or under. If there's a problem where, I guess there's a safety concern as well, as Rob mentioned, because they will be going a lot slower than the other traffic, but I guess I don't know how we would address that other than having the requirements on there, the orange triangle, turn signals, brake lights, and everything else. I don't know if, I know Rob mentioned doors. You see vehicles go down Jeeps without doors, so I don't.
the DOT doesn't even require doors.
Yeah, so I don't see that as a issue, but I don't have much concern with it, I guess.
I think one of the things to consider too is you got an insurance aspect and you got seat belts. So you pick up those aspects.
Sure, if they get in an accident.
You're
that's a good
liable
point.
for anything you do on your own. I mean,
Well,
I know the government right now requires insurance. I also think it's an overstep of government at that point. I mean,
Yep.
I mean,
Well, it's a privilege to drive a car. That's why you have to have an insurance according to the government. So.
well, or be liable for your actions. I mean, for most of your and my lives, we weren't required to have insurance in our cars. It's a relatively new thing in Wisconsin.
A lot of the condo and different subdivisions are starting to require that in all the golf carts. Otherwise, you're not driving it.
Yeah, because I mean, you can injure somebody else and
Just a question, you're renting them, right? Okay. What would you
No, he
require
doesn't-
for insurance?
He doesn't rent them, he sells them.
Yep.
well, you talked about renting them at one point,
Yeah,
didn't
I'm
you?
curious.
He has to turn the microphone on.
Okay. Can you turn the microphone on when you go out there and talk into it? Maybe introduce yourself. Should be a switch on there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hi, I'm George, and my business partner Dan is behind me. Sorry, I didn't realize you guys were starting so early on this topic. So the question around renting, so we're not currently renting golf carts to the public at all. Obviously, it's not legal in the city of Muskego at the moment, so we are not renting. In terms of insurance, I mean, all of these things, they're great discussion because these are things that we talk with our customers about who come up. Right now, I would tell you that probably 70% of my customers come up from Illinois to buy golf carts because in many of their villages and counties down there, they are legal. Now, they do require that you register your vehicle with the county or with the city. Our golf carts range anywhere. A standard golf cart is 13 miles an hour coming off the course, but we obviously work on the carts and we can get speeds of 18 to 25. And in just about every vehicle that we outfit, we put seat belts, all right, turn signals, brake lights, headlights, tail lights, and so we make them safe for the customers. We've had a lot of people asking about them in this area here. But insurance is something that the state requires if you have what's called a low-speed vehicle. Low-speed vehicles are golf carts that can go 20 plus. So if it's 20 and under, then it's a golf cart. But the state requires you, and so it seems natural that would be a requirement here too. State also requires you, if you're 20 plus in a low-speed vehicle, to register. Right, and maybe that goes through a certification process where the police signs off. Maybe you use a third-party person like us to do an inspection. But those are things that we'd be open to do with you if that's helpful.
Now, if you do start to rent them? I know if you rent a car, you have to have insurance. So if you don't have it, you can take it out through them.
So one of the things
how
that
would that work with you?
Great question. So one of the things that we do today, the other part of our business that we're running out of the facility, and by the way, thank you for letting us have that place. We love being here. But we do rent pop-up campers. And so we have pretty strict insurance requirements that we have to have back from the customers before they take those campers. And if they don't have it, if their insurance company doesn't allow it, then we don't let them rent from us. And so I don't know what the rental program looks like yet for golf carts in terms of a weekend rental, but that's something we could figure out, we can address, and we'll toe the line, whatever that is.
But now, Tim, the two-man Taylor can take those up a little bit faster, right, Tom?
Okay. Anything else?
Is there any interest in moving forward with an ordinance like this? I know I see two aldermen that are opposed to it, and it seems like everyone else is at least open to it. Is that fair?
Move forward.
Move forward? All right.
So one other question I'll ask is, do we have any ordinances pertaining to farm equipment, slow-moving equipment on our roads?
State has regulations on that.
State regulations, where you put the triangle on.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't restrict it on.
They can do whatever they want.
I understand. So, I mean, we already deal with vehicles on the road that are abnormal. And we should expect that. I know our community's different, but if you ever had any familiarity with the Amish community, their buggies are on the road, and they put a light on them and they put the triangle on them.
All right. Is there anything specific you guys want to see in this ordinance as we come forward?
Well, I know
we already have seatbelts and the safety things on there.
I'm for the orange triangle.
And if you talked about the requirements already, that's part of state or whatever you said, so, but Bob did mention 35, and I thought we were talking 25.
The roads are 35 and more that I'm looking at. That's what this map is.
How can we allow a motorized vehicle on a road that can't keep up with the speed limit of the road?
Because it's a speed limit, it's not a speed minimum.
But it's almost inviting accidents.
I don't think so.
Somebody comes over a hill at 35 miles an hour and all of a sudden there's a golf cart there that he wasn't seeing.
Okay, I'm looking at the map or thinking through it. I can't think of one spot on there where you'd be coming over a hill.
Durham, there's a lot of them.
Durham's not 35 all the way down. You wouldn't be able.
Yes, it is.
No, it ends by Eagle, by the subdivision right there, where Eric used to live. Goes to 45. Goes to 40 there.
Durham, it's 35 between 00 and Moreland.
Not according to the map I have here.
Well, I think your map might be out because I see 35 mile an hour signs all the way down the road.
I think that's why there's a lot of tickets written there.
There sure are.
Yeah, again, I'm gonna, the 35 is again, we're opening a can of worms. I'm on that same page again. So, I mean, I don't mind talking this over and what, but.
All right, we can get into those discussions as the ordinance comes forward. It seems like there's enough interest. Is there anything specific else you'd like to see?
If Jeff is trying to draft something for us and give us some parameters that you see in any other ordinances you can find, or something else is already going on.
And what's the closest one to us?
Off
the top of your head.
There's Waukesha, I think, has got one right now.
Waterford?
Yeah, Waterford's got one.
I think Greenfield just allowed it.
Greenfield, I looked up and I couldn't see it yet, but I think that they're in the process of getting one done. Onalaska has a really good one, but that's up to across. So they're around, it's a matter of, oh, I'm sorry. They're around, it's just a matter of whether we want to do it or not.
I guess I visualize these as being primarily used within a subdivision.
Yeah, residential type.
You're not going to have people,
Well, once you allow it.
cruising with a boat attached to it or something,
Yeah, well, that's true. In my neighborhood, it's all between the lake and up the hill.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on this that you want? Thank you. Next item is sponsorship policies and opportunities.
Pardon?
Oh, I'm sorry.
This gentleman want to make a comment?
Sure. Introduce yourself and.
Bob Gellhouse I live on Test Corners. I'm in Bob's Wolf's district. Interesting topic. I'm all for people having fun, right? So if we can, not so much fun, but give them an opportunity to have transportation wherever. But so I'm kind of in favor of this, but I agree. We're opening a can of worms, and we have to keep them off of the main roads, right? If they cross the road, that's one thing. I don't think that's a huge issue. But if they're on a road that's 35 and they can only go 25, I think that's a huge issue. So I would write it, keep them in 25, keep them in the residential area. They have to be visible. I'm a motorcycle trainer. We teach that all the time. It's your responsibility to be visible, right? So whatever we can do to make them visible, that should be in there, whether it's a triangle or flashing lights or something. They have to be visible, because if they're holding people up, we all know it's going to be frustrating for people trying to get somewhere. If they're on a main road, it's going to be a problem. So I'm thinking, let them have some fun, right? Get in their scooter or golf cart and let them go somewhere, as long as they're not causing issues. It's my thought.
Can you spell your last name, sir?
Gellhouse, Gelhaus.
Thank you.
The one thing I should have brought up on here is mopeds are legal, with the exception of the old ones that we all had, that we all saw in college.
Bicycle.
Almost none of those got up to 25 miles an hour with anyone over 150 pounds on them. There's no doors on them, no helmet requirement, and they're not any more visible. So.
But they move faster though.
No, they don't. That's what I'm
Mopeds
saying.
don't move faster?
The old ones don't, no.
About 25 is top on an
At
old
best,
moped.
by definition, they can't go over 30.
They don't take up as much room on the road either. they're easier to get around.
You still, you cannot, you get a full lane, just like a motorcycle.
And just like golf carts,
Who rides a bike? You should know better. Making that comment.
and just like golf carts, there aren't many out there.
Right. So let's let them be.
So if you want to compare them, we're talking 2 golf carts and maybe a handful of
I just want to be able to, when my people start yelling, I just want to be able to say, I voted no.
Well, you know,
Big hand of government.
as long as we're still got this discussion going, I think what sparked something is that if we do something like this, maybe we could have like a trial period, so that instead of making a full-blown ordinance that's going to carry on forever, we can do a trial period, and then we can, otherwise it's harder to take things back once we put it out there, right?
Right.
So we could put a sunset on the first go-around, and I mean, it's just discussion as we go forward with this, so.
Fair enough.
How many roads in the city are strictly 25-mile-an-hour roads?
How many?
I mean, this map is,
He said most
Map and
subdivisions.
pull out the arteries. All of them except for the main arteries are on this map. So like everything but Janesville Road, Racine, the small.
So the
sections
east,
of
west,
Racine.
north, south, big roads are
so
not.
I would think that 25 might be the criteria.
But
Yeah.
you can't leave your subdivision with it.
And then they're off of.
Well,
that's- yeah.
you know, and maybe we can let them leave the subdivision if they cross the road into another subdivision.
Well, I know in the city
I
of
don't
Milwaukee,
know. I
you
mean,
can cross roads, but you've got to be on a 25-mile-an-hour road. But you can cross a 35-mile-an-hour road to get to another 25.
well,
I can't get the culverts. Have my ice cream in it.
well, you go, the DNR, they won't let you cross the road.
Well, if you cut out Janesville and Woods and Racine, that would eliminate basically the majority of the roads over
Put a sidewalks.
25,
Right,
wouldn't it? And I think if you cross
Durham.
it, that might, you know.
Test
You gotta
corners.
cut out Durham, trust me, that's the
Racine.
busiest street in the city.
And how, yeah, I mean, we wouldn't have to involve the county because they wouldn't be on the road system, right?
We don't involve the county in it anyway. The only ones they can't.
Well, Racine and
No, but we don't
Janesville.
have to. We don't have to involve them in this process.
Right.
The only one that we can't put them on is state highways. So 36 would be.
Some
out.
of the ordinances I looked at did have the crossroad idea, so that's something you guys can think about.
Yeah, that's what I want that listed.
Sure,
We said sure down there.
I did. Could have talked a lot more about this later. Let's get it out now, right?
I wasn't going to
So-
say no, but
So one more thing, in that, in the Wisconsin statute, you can cross a county highway 35 miles an hour or less. So you can, moving from one, so that kind of solves your subdivision to subdivision or subdivision over to pick and save. You can cross that 35, according to the
Good,
state.
now we're having parking spots at Pick and Save. Thanks for that.
Some similarities.
I'm going to pick and save with the golf cart means I'm not going with my car. It takes up the same amount of space.
Hopefully you don't buy too much. You won't fit in there.
Some similarities
Ice
with
cream will melt by the
snowmobiles.
time you get home.
We allow snowmobiles on certain streets, right?
We do. Yeah.
Oh, we don't.
No, we don't anymore.
They have to be on the trails of
Only on the
snowmobiles. That's a
trail,
good
right.
Only
comparison.
off the street.
Only on the trails.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing just to get them across right here in front of the new building.
Well, in my neighborhood, when a snowmobile heads for the lake, it's on the street because there's no other way.
Doesn't mean it's legal.
That happens all the time in the
We're in
winter.
the Wild West here.
All right. Anything else on this before we bring it?
Sure. Oh, sorry.
All right, moving forward. Sponsorship policies on opportunities. So with the money we've been sticking into Park Arthur, with the upgrades and everything, Ryan's starting to get approached by different businesses and entities that want to participate in sponsoring either naming rights of a field or pay, advertising, paying for scoreboards, all of that stuff. So before I dove too far into this, for one, I wanted to find out, are you guys open to selling advertising or naming rights or any of that stuff in our parks? And if so, what I would probably do is bring forward a sponsorship policy. When I was in the school district, we did one that's pretty encompassing. It works pretty good. But there's a lot of opportunities out there, especially like with scoreboards, for instance. The Jumbotron that's at the high school, it's $450,000 scoreboard. We didn't pay a thing for it. The company actually came to us and said, can we use your name and go out there and sell advertising for you? And we'll come back in 2 months and see how big of a scoreboard you can get. They sold enough for that, plus a internal scoreboard that's a scoring table inside the gymnasium. So they were wildly successful with that. I would probably reach out to Datronics and see if they're interested in doing that for baseball scoreboards in the parks, and anything else that we can get. But it's a great way of not using tax revenue for stuff.
How did the school put advertisement on scoreboards?
Not
Did
yet.
I mean, I know that was talked about in the city to allow.
Yeah, I don't know where.
The concerns of the residents around them.
Yeah, I don't know where they ended up.
COVID probably came around.
Yeah, COVID's what happened, but I'm not sure what happened with, if they actually got approval from Plan to be able to put advertising in the back yet or not. I know that was something they were just going to come back to. They do run ads as part of their program on the main TV part of it. They constantly stream those out for their main sponsors, but.
I mean, the only concerns, it would be the same thing the school would have is the neighbors on how would react to have a big banner in their backyard or lights flashing all the time. Same thing in a park. And a park is probably more residential than the school area. But that's the only concerns I would have is the community.
And I think
what the kind of objections they would have.
Anything we do, even our own parks, for something like that, would have to go through Plan Commission. So we have a architectural control committee per se in that.
Would we hold that only revenues would be used for things like a scoreboard, or would we, if there was enough revenue coming off of it, be trying to help the park and rec programs, or what
All
would
of
we
it.
do?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends how
Be
successful.
like general funds for park and rec.
It really depends how successful.
Make sure
we
the
are.
turf is paid for.
Right. I mean, I don't see any limits on it. There, it could be something nominal to something huge, but I know a couple of years ago, 20 years ago when I was an alderman, we brought this up and there was no interest in it at all from a number of the aldermen. So before I brought anything forward, I just wanted to gauge your interest.
Well, I know I've seen baseball fields with even the plastic banners or whatever on the fences that people pay for per year from businesses.
And we have that at Park Arthur and the bigger diamond. That's how they paid for it when the storm did it.
I mean, that would still be part of the same program then, I would think, right?
It would all fall under the same policy, yes. All right, interests? Yep, all right.
Interests.
We'll be bringing that forward then too. Any communications miscellaneous business? Hearing none, motion to adjourn would be in order?
Motion to adjourn.
Alderman Engelhardt, seconded by Alderman Wolf. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Any opposed? Adjourned at 6:15.